we've got to start with the big breaking news that Mo Salah has reportedly agreed to go to Saudi Arabia and play football. He's not going to force the move, according to the David Ornsteins and the early reports of this that have come out. Liverpool are saying he's not for sale, but with the money the Saudi League has got, the money these clubs have got, what do we think is going to happen here? And should Liverpool consider accepting it? I want to go to Mo first on this, as a fellow Egyptian who sees this from a different point of view, maybe to a Liverpool fan. What are you saying?
He should go and take the money. Liverpool should take the money, 100 million. Listen, they cannot replace Mo Salah. He's already one of the greats, but I'm looking at it from an Egyptian point of view. He goes to Saudi Arabia. There's 100 million Egyptians that are going to tune into the league if Mo Salah goes there. It's a massive thing for Egypt that have Mo Salah in that league, playing alongside Benzema and N'Golo Kante, against Cristiano, and all these big names now that are playing in the Saudi League. I know Liverpool fans don't like it, but to be honest, realistically, he has to go. I'm just looking from his point of view. He can go. He already surpassed Gerrard. He's already a legend for Liverpool. Won everything. What is there left to win? Are you going to win the Champions League this year? Are you going to win the Premier League? No, you're not. Are you even going to win the Golden Goal? No, you're not. So probably 200 million pounds in 3-year contract. That's a lot of money to turn down. And also marketability. Mo Salah, he's more marketable in Saudi Arabia than in England because of just the Arab world. Everybody's going to watch Mo Salah, buy jerseys and everything. Sorry, Liverpool fans. I know he's valuable to your team, but he has to go. He's already agreed to go. That means he is willing to play.
Listen, I get where you're coming from. Like, I know Liverpool's stance, Rory, is that he's not for sale. But does that really mean anything when you're talking about the money that these clubs in Saudi Arabia can offer?
No, there is no such thing as not for sale. Everyone's got a price. And I think Liverpool now, from a publicity standpoint, they have to give this. Salah isn't going to push a move. They've got to kind of make it look like he isn't for sale, because if they do end up selling him, the argument will be they should have done it when these rumours happened way earlier in the window, and they could have had time to use that money and fix it for the season ahead. Because if they lose him now, this close to the end of the transfer window, they're not going to replace him, and they may as well have got rid of him earlier in the window and used that money. So I think, Liverpool have had such bad publicity all summer since their first 2 signings, and this is just another nail in the coffin for them.
If we're being honest, though, there is definitely 2 ways to look at it. If you are a Liverpool fan, you can look at it that way. Like, I'm a Tottenham fan. We sold Gareth Bale on the last day of the window. We sold Durantal Berbatov last day of the window. It affects your club. It does. It's not a good way to go into the season. But Salah's 31 years old. They're probably going to bring in a fee that demands above, in and around the £100 million. But let's be honest, we saw Neymar go there for €100 million. Salah's in a better time of his career than Neymar is, if we're being honest, and he's still performing, he's still scoring goals. And like you said, the whole marketing side of it, what Salah brings to the country, they're going to be a much larger investment in him. And for Liverpool, this season, they're not going to be title contenders. They're just not there. They're missing that centre mid at the moment. They couldn't go out there and get their key man. They've had a few players that they've missed out on. And if Salah goes, it's not going to be great, but they do have a lot of players in attack at the moment. Salah's not going to be the 25 goal scoring player that he was, 25 goals a season player that he was 2-3 years ago. He hasn't done that. And he's progressively started to get a bit worse and worse as the season goes on. I'm not saying Salah's a bad player, but he's 31 years old. And if you can bring in £100 million for him, just like everyone said with Harry Kane at Tottenham, you've got to accept it. You just have to. The way that Liverpool are going to progress and be able to rebuild their team with that, then they can reinvest it. Maybe this season, they're not going to be title contenders, but the season after that, their team's going to be in a much better position than it would be without that money. Because with Salah there, let's be honest, their team's just, I don't feel like he's going to be around for that team to compete at the top again. I feel like...
But just on your point there, sorry, to interrupt, when you talk about Salah not competing for the Premier League, with his goal contributions, he could be the difference between them making the Champions League and them not making the Champions League this season. So I don't think, from a Liverpool standpoint, I don't think they should let him go. I understand from Salah's point of view, he's achieved everything he probably can at Liverpool, Premier League, Champions League, top scorers in the league. There's nothing left for him to actually do here. And he's in the twilight of his career. He's approaching the twilight of his career. He can still perform, but not to the level that he used to, like you said. So from a personal perspective, I think he should go. But I think Liverpool should possibly hold on to the end of the season because he could, with his goal contribution, it could make a big difference if he goes. Because, like you said, there's not much time to replace him if they let him go.
Well, if we are being honest here, if there's any manager that you trust in this league to like work with the players they got and create a goal-scoring attacking lineup, it's going to be Klopp. Klopp is the one manager you can rely on that's going to create chances. His team's going to score goals. And without Salah, they still have adequate players at this moment in time. That's not taken into consideration that they could sign another player. I'm not saying they're never going to get a Salah replacement. There's no player out there that's on Salah's level that's attainable at this time. But they can sign a player that's very good, a player that's going to be able to challenge their front line that's currently there, because they still have Diaz, they still have Jota, they still have Nunes. They still have Harvey Elliott that can play outside. They've got a lot of players that can play in those positions that are good. But yeah, they probably will need more if Salah goes. But they're not going to be down and out like people think. And I still think that they'll be able to get into the top 4 with or without him.
Yeah, I can tell Liverpool fans are stressed about this. I mean, they're acting like I've made this news up. That's the epitome of fear when Terry's making this news up. No, this is genuine bona fide news that's come out from credible outlets that he has agreed in principle to the $240 million over a 3-year period. And you also said this, Mo, that he is, if he goes, he'll also get a percentage of the revenues from the TV subscriptions that come out of Egypt as well. So it's a huge money offer. It's a real interesting one here. This is fake news, not even true, is what's being said. Well, crazy.
Listen,
Scared.
what people do, whatever makes him sleep well at night. You know what I mean? Like, just people stand in front of the mirror and they think, what is making me sleep at night? Well, I'll say this fake news. I went this morning and I read all the Saudi news, the Egyptian newspaper in Arabic. I speak Arabic, of course. And they're all saying Al Ittihad are edging closer and pressing Liverpool. Liverpool are not willing to sell, but Al Ittihad are willing to offer even more money. If you read Arabic, you could just go Google Translate. It's simple.
Yeah. And I understand that none of the tier 1 transfer journalists have said that personal terms have been agreed, but they're never going to do that to Liverpool. They don't want to lose their connections at the club. But the press and the media that don't give a shit about their relationship with Liverpool are going to print what they print. And at the end of the day, I believe that he has probably agreed in principle. Why would he not? If we can get a deal agreed with Liverpool, would you be willing to come and play for £250,000? £250 million plus the TV rights? He's probably said, yeah, if you can get a deal done with Liverpool. What those reports actually said, if you listen, is that he's not going to push hard for the move. He isn't going to go on strike or put in transfer requests. He's going to respect Liverpool. But if Liverpool can come to an agreement, and I know their stance right now is he's not for sale, but I swear, boys, didn't Spurs say that Kane weren't for sale? As an example, I remember once upon a time, Inter said that Lukaku wasn't for sale. I remember that being the case. Yeah, and we can all go through multiple examples where clubs say a player is not for sale at any price. Fergie famously said he wouldn't sell Real Madrid a virus. 3 months later, £90 million, Cristiano Ronaldo is flying off into the sunset to become the greatest footballer of all time. And at the end of the day, like this not for sale, especially, and I don't care if what I'm about to say offends anyone, especially when it comes to these billionaires from the Middle East, the word no when it comes to buying something means very, very little to them. And if they offer the right amount of money, you will know what your owners are like. If they offer the right amount of money, FSG is saying yes. They will. If £200 million gets offered, FSG say yes. They say absolutely yes to this deal. And I think that's what you've got to bear yourselves in mind. If they only bid 100 million, you probably say no. But if £200 million gets put across that table, cash injection into Liverpool, they're saying yes, 110% they are.
Wait, you know what else, Terry? Those Liverpool fans might finally get their dream of Mbappe, eh?
Well, if they did sell it for £200 million, who legitimately do any of you think, like Northside, who do you think they could actually sign to bring him in? I've seen a lot of Liverpool fans in the comments say we'd go after Saka. But do you think even with £200 million, do you think Liverpool got the pull to land someone like a Saka, like an Mbappe now in 2023?
They haven't got the pull over teams like Chelsea, and they want to go land Saka from Arsenal. They lost their mind. They can't go to any other top six Premier League club and take their best player. They're going to have to go abroad. They're not getting no teams from any other top six club.
Listen, they can go out there to Bayern Munich and offer them big money. You know what I mean? They can maybe go and get someone from Bayern Munich. If they've got the money, for me, I wouldn't get rid of Salah unless you're going in to get someone like Mbappe. And I think then the fans won't be so angry. He's younger, world-class player. Salah, I don't think he's on the decline, but how many more years being at the top is he going to give you? If they get top money and then they go and reinvest that in Mbappe, I don't really see Liverpool fans being angry with that. I wouldn't be angry with that because you're replacing a world-class player for another world-class player that has another 5, 6, 7 years to give you of world-class performances. You know, at the end of the day, if you don't try, you never know. You know, I remember when Arsenal signed Ozil. At that time and point, a lot of people didn't think Arsenal could attract Ozil, and we did. You know, I remember when people didn't think that we could attract Aubameyang, and we did. So money really talks, and they're in the Premier League, and they do have this self-sustaining. So ultimately, if you offer them big money, they're going to take it. You know, we see the way that they reinvested the money from Coutinho. If they can redo that, I mean, Klopp's done that before, so there is previous to go by, and not just hoping and wishing that things will go well. If he recruits that way, then maybe it can work. But at the end of the day, I can see the concern at the same time because Liverpool have fallen off. They used to be neck and neck with Man City. I can understand the concern from Liverpool fans saying, well, if we get rid of Salah, who we're getting in, and we're already playing chase, they're playing catch up with Liverpool, with Man City. And to an extent, they're playing catch up to an extent with Arsenal because they're not looking that strong. There's still holes in the midfield. They're still holding in the defense. You know, so at the end of the day, do they really want to be concerned with replacing Mo Salah alongside needing to address their midfield even more because it's still not good enough and their defensive positions? Because when you look at their centre backs, you got Gomez, you got Matip. For me, they got to be upgraded on that. If they want to get back to the level of competing to the wire with Man City neck and neck, they need to be replacing that. And they run like Arsenal, self-sustaining. So they do need to sell. It's all about how they replace it. But I can understand why they're a little bit nervy, especially from how things went with Caicedo and Lavia. I can understand the concern. Because Liverpool, we used to look at them as, you know, they did great business. Sold Coutinho, went and got Salah. Nobody wanted from when he was in Italy. They went and got players like that. So, you know, the goalkeeper, you know, all the players that they signed, they were quite shrewd and they didn't get bumped and they were kind of picking out all these gems. But in recent time, they're getting picked by teams like Chelsea. So if I'm a Liverpool fan, I'm thinking, well, you're not doing the type of business that you were doing before, earlier on in Klopp's reign. It looks like the scouting's going off a little bit. I'm a little bit concerned of how this football club is going to use that money if we do cash in on Salah. So that's how I look at it. I would say
you genuinely think Mbappe would go play for Liverpool Football Club?
Bro, you got to attempt, bro. You got to attempt. I'm not saying that he is, but at the end of the day, you got to attempt. I've heard football fans say you can't attract world-class players unless you got Champions League football. That's absolute crap. Yeah.
No,
at the end of the day, if you offer the money, they may not. But your football club has to attempt. You know, or what's the worst if you don't?
Yeah, but they got hold on. But they got embarrassed when they went to Caicedo and offered a lot of money to Caicedo, and they got embarrassed. And look at the club now. They showed their hand, and look where they are now. Just because of a wrong bid for the wrong player before agreeing terms, knowing that the player is willing to play for them. The player publicly wants to play for Real Madrid. Now they're going to go and bid for him now for... you're not realistic, to be honest. You're not.
I'm not saying that they should sell him, but I'm not saying that I'm not saying... I agree with what you're saying. I'm just saying I would keep him, yeah, and make him stay there. But I'm just saying, at the end of the day, if they get rid of him, they have to replace him with a world-class player. They have to. Because even if you keep him, you can't be regressing because they're playing catch-up. They're not favourites to win the league this season. They're not favourites, like you said, to win the Champions League. If you get rid of them, the only way the fan base...
But the world-class players...
I've been listening to you guys.
I have a name to throw out there because, Terry, sorry, Don. I have a name out there that is not going to cost 100 million. If they take that money and go maybe get Kingsley Coman, I think that will add to their squad. He's not going to cost 100 million, by the way, and they can go and invest the rest in someone else as well. I think Kingsley Coman can be a really good addition to Liverpool Football Club. He's electric. He's very good. Lots of experience. Won lots of titles.
The thing is, they've got 110 million. They've proven that. If they got 200 million, say, for Mo Salah, because I think it would take a bit of that level to make Liverpool change their mind, that gives them 300 million pound. I know there's only a week to go, but again, with 300 million pound, that makes almost anybody in the world purchasable, especially even in the final week. Even a player who's joined another club already this summer could be purchased for that kind of money. We've seen madnesses happen already, so it wouldn't be beyond the realms. I'm not talking about a big player that one of the big teams in England has signed as an example, or someone that signed a new deal. Rafael Leao as an example. I know he just signed a new deal, but if you've got £300 million in your back pocket, again, he's achievable. But there is a part of me that thinks Liverpool have to consider this, because I know Mo Salah is still going to be valuable to the Saudi market in 3 or 4 years, but it's clear they're not just a league that wants to buy old men. They want to buy old stars, yes, but they want to buy people still in their pomp, and they're trying to already buy people that are on the up and coming in terms of the Gabby Vegas. This is not a league that just want, okay, we'll get him in 5 years when he's 35, like the MLS. Just why the MLS has never grown, because they've never really been able to attract people in their pomp. And I think, look, I think it's a threat to European football, most undoubtedly, which is why they're all panicking a bit.